Hey guys, Big Dave here for TGN, and it's time, once again, for Warfronts. Yeah, that's right, Warfronts! Exclamation mark. Warfronts is my Rift PvP show where an average PvE player, that's me, tries to get better at Rift's PvP Warfronts through self-analysis. Well, I would like to welcome you to possibly the most boring episode of Warfronts that you will ever see. Allow me to explain. This week I had intended, as I said in the previous episode, to record my cleric. Unfortunately, the universe apparently didn't want to see my cleric, and so a couple of different things conspired to keep the footage of the cleric off. The first was some kind of weird, messed up keyboard error where my keyboard stopped working in the middle of the game, and I could only get my keys to work by holding down Alt. Otherwise, my keys let out an annoying beep every time I pressed them. I don't know what that was. I recently started using Alt as an additional modifier, so I'm assuming I fucked something up when I did that. The next thing is this. As you'll see, I'm just sort of standing there, not moving, in the middle of a game that we were losing horribly, and then, boom, disconnected from server. At that point, after the keyboard thing and the disconnecting thing, I said, screw it, and I went over to my Bard. Yes, my Defiant Bard, who's level 30, and we went into the Codex, and I had most definitely, the single most boring game I have ever had, and I am sharing that with you. Well, why was it boring? You'll see, but essentially it was boring because I tried to do what I was supposed to do, which is hold a point. Specifically the Codex. But you'll have plenty of a chance to see that while we are in the game. So this is my level 30 rogue, he is Bard Spect, and there's only one thing left to say, guys. To the action. So here we go, guys, we are into a match of the Codex. Gonna throw out some last second motifs here, buff up the team. See a little bit of strategy discussion there in the chat box. A little bit strange. Not a pre-made. No? Huh. People actually talking to one another. It does happen in pugs, apparently. Proof. Here you have it. So somehow, without really it being said, it was apparently decided that I was the only one who was going to go and get the translation scope. But I go and get the translation scope. Luckily, I suppose, for the whole rest of the team. And then where are we going? Of course, we're going to the Codex. As we decided before, we had a couple of guys who were going to go to the Vault and the rest of us to the Codex. So I start throwing out motifs, of course. Remember, I'm a Bard. I'm support. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping my team. I'm looking for a cadence target here because my cadence throws out heals, and that's what I want to do. I immediately draw the attention of this fine individual, and he really wants me dead. But luckily I have help, plus I have just a healthy damage output as a Bard. Nothing impressive, but obviously enough to take out that fella. So my quick thinking, I mean, you know, just your average speed thinking. We grabbed the Codex, but I guess it was quick thinking because I got it just before the fan out came from that marksman on the ledge above, so that actually was perfect timing on my part. If you roll back, you'll see, like, the bar was right there. It was, a split second sooner he would have interrupted it. And that's the kind of cool stuff that you'll get in these little matches like that, where you're pushing, you're trying to get the cap, and you just beat him. And, you know, you just have to say to yourself, or you just have to chuckle to yourself and say, you know, I've been on the other side of that enough times. And now it begins. This is it, folks. This is defense. This is pretty much what you're going to see for the rest of the game. Can you believe it? Yeah. Well, everyone else on my team makes a bit of a skate away, and I do have a couple of people up on the cliff face overlooking the statue. But other than that, I'm the only one down here in the pit of the Codex. And of course, rogues can stealth through, folks can do an end around and come around from our translation scope. So I felt it was important to stay here in the pit. Now I've been joined by this gentleman who's sitting arms crossed on his turtle. But yeah, this is pretty much how the game's going to go, how the rest of the game's going to go. So this will be a good game to just sort of take an opportunity to talk about the importance of playing a defensive role and the willingness of certain players to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get the most damage. I'm not going to get the most kills. but I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that we win this game. And this is what I decided at this point. I thought, you know what? I'm here at the Codex. I am a support character. People should be coming in and out. You know, people should be moving back and forth from the Codex just to make sure that it's secure. And I will maintain the position here. I will hold down the fort, so to speak. Of course, I have some help up on the rocks. That's excellent. So we have basically 3 of us here. Now, this is probably a little much to be guarding the Codex at this point in the battle. We could have talked a little bit about it and maybe just come up with a slightly better strategy. Just leave me there, or just leave the stealth rogue there. But as these things happen, someone got bored and someone left. So it's just me and the stealthy now. We're hanging out. We're kind of guarding the Codex. And again, you know, I'm a little impatient. I wish there was more going on, but, well, I really want to win the game. And I want to do the things that I can do to help my team win the game. And I know from playing offense how easy it is, or how easy it can be, to draw people out. For instance, they just had our translation scope. Now, that is an easy tactic to use to draw people out. I mean, I'll grab the other team's near point just to draw them out. I won't even necessarily care about keeping it. I'll get it and I'll immediately start moving towards whatever point I really want. It's a distraction technique. You'll see this in everything, whether it's World of Warcraft, Arathi Basin, or now the new and hot Dominion mode in League of Legends. You know, it's a distraction. It is a technique for getting what you want in the end. What they want is the Codex, and they will pretend to want translation scope in order to get us to fall for that tactic, so to speak. So we may be a little overcommitted on our defense, but so are they. They have a couple of people guarding the statue. Seems a little iffy. And you can see here, I'm kind of wanting to inch towards the action, but that defender in me keeps looking back at the flag. Because for all I know, there could have been a stealth rogue there since the beginning of the game, waiting for me to leave. And the moment that I leave, he's going to make the cap. And that's kind of what hits my head right now. I jump back on my turtle and I start right back for the Codex, because I've done that. I've seen people do that. You know, I have seen rogues hang out just out of sight range, you know, hang around on the back side of the Codex and just wait for the 1 or 2 defenders to leave, and then go in and make the grab. But, you know, again, this is not going to be an exciting match. This is pretty much what you're going to see for most of the match. You will get some more action. There will be some pushes. I will have some heroics, some slight heroics. But here I'm just surveying the field. I kind of see my team making a push. I think about going, then I realize, oh crap, they just got wiped. Which means if the other team was smart, it means that pretty much all those guys should be coming here. But lucky enough for me, they're not. And really only one guy makes his way up here, and then he has a couple of straggling friends who are coming up to back him up. So I do the defensive thing. I get into my position here underneath the cliff face. I see one of my allies coming, so I give him a little bit of motif action there. And I'm waiting now. I am waiting for them to make the move, as I know that they're coming, and they have to be. I saw at least 3 of them headed this way. This is just sort of me trying to give you an idea of what's going through my head. So I have one guy above and one guy dropping down to the side. We'll go ahead and start on this guy. Again, you know, I get heals through damage. So I throw out my Verse of Fascination, which stuns the guy who is near me. Actually employing some tactics here, right? And I've got a friend here who is helping me out, a couple friends. So we managed to weather this storm. So I don't know how the 3 attackers became only 2. I don't know why that team didn't make a more organized push. But right about now we do see that there is a fellow coming around the backside. And maybe that was their 3rd. Maybe he decided to make an end around. But I leave him for my friends there, and I come back to the point. So again, they are doubling up on that defense of the statue. I don't know why, but almost every time I look down there, they have 2 guys defending that statue. This is a really good example from the other team of how not to win this match. They're over-defending points that are not worth nearly the effort. If you have two or three people wasting away at Codex, well, that's a little bit better, because at least the Codex is worth more points per tick. If you're devoting 2 people to guarding a simple point, one of the other 3 points, I don't know. I just don't know how you justify that to yourself. Now we managed to get a 3 cap, and the only thing they are holding is that heavily defended statue, and this is going to help us just push the points up through the roof. They do make spotty comebacks, and it's, it doesn't end up being a total and absolute blowout. I mean, it is a thrashing, and here's me apologizing to you guys. So, sorry guys, this isn't very entertaining. Yes, I am sorry. And I thought about, I'm recording this. I should just run out and like, raw, Rambo. But this series is about me learning how to be a better player. And this is something here. Well, here's a mistake right here. I'm out of range. I'm just standing here taking damage, just eating damage from this guy because I was out of range from my own attacks. You notice here I'm swiveling my camera around so I'm looking back at the point, just in case anybody makes the end around. These are techniques that I'm trying to employ to make myself a better player. And these are things I've learned through watching others and through experimentation and through playing other games and playing other modes of PvP in other games. Everything you can do that pits you against another human being can help you to learn how those people think, even if it's just playing like freaking, poker, Texas Hold'em, whatever, with your buddies. It all helps you learn how they think. And here we got a guy doing the end around. As I said a couple of times, that's always an opening, always a possibility. In fact, there's 2 guys, one on the low ground, one on the high ground. And again, that's part of knowing how people think. I know that if I can't get through coming my own side of the Codex, I'll make an end around to try to disturb them, to try to interrupt the flow there, to do something a little bit different, a little bit out of the ordinary. Now I see that guy in the distance. I make the decision not to go after him. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I need some healing. Maybe I should drink. I'm really kind of low on life. I'm thinking I'm going to do a little drinky, and that's right when that warrior decides, no, I'm not going to do any drinky. He's going to try to kill me. And luckily, again, I have buddies. It pays to have friends. It pays to have defensive partners. And we do manage to take out that feller nice and easy. Here's another threat, but again, not much of a threat. What is this? This is that marksman that's been harassing us off and on. There's 3 of us here, and 2 more incoming, so not a challenge at all. And again, this team is consistently not pushing for the Codex, the opposition. They're not pushing for the Codex in any sort of a sustainable attack. They're all over the map. They're trying to get Vault back. They're taking and losing scope. They're doubled up on defensive statue. They're just not playing very well. And it's easy to say that when you're the team that is playing pretty well. But this is pretty much us putting the nail in the coffin. I mean, this is it. Right here, there's nothing left. I mean, they have held statue. They've had it on lockdown the whole game. But then again, we had the Codex on lockdown. And what does that mean? If you've got the Codex on lockdown, that means the other team is likely going to lose, because they would have to consistently hold all 3 of the other points in order to beat you once you have the Codex. So yeah, pretty much that's the game right there, guys. I hope we did enough to fill the downtime in this game. We will actually see me. I'll get to level 31 at the end of this game. Very cool. Always fun, nice to level up. But otherwise, what you've seen here is me playing support, not being aggressive, but playing it for effect, playing it for a win, really. And that's what I did. There's my level up right there. We'll take a quick look at the stats. Even though I wasn't involved in too much in the way of battles, I still got some nice healing when I finally find the tab. We'll go over. I got number 2 in healing, even though I wasn't involved in a lot of battles. I did pretty decent on the damage done, all things considered, that I'm a bard. And number 2, on favor. Not a lot to complain about there, guys. I mean, all in all, again, this is not the most entertaining game in the world, but this is the sort of thing. These are the people you need on your team. You need me in this case. You need me on your team, because I'm the guy who's willing to stand there with my thumb up my ass and guard decks the whole game. And that's valuable. So let's talk about something that we learned. Lessons learned. Well, number one, we saw the importance of just talking a little bit. I mean, there was some good chatter throughout the whole game, but right there at the beginning, there was a discussion. I'm going to go to Vault. I'm going to go with you. Well, we only need one person to go to Vault. Everybody else go to Dex. You saw we had a nice little productive discussion there at the beginning, and it helped us to push forward. Yeah, granted, nobody said, hey, Nam, you go and you get the scope, and no one else is going to go there. It just so happened. We got lucky. I went there. Of course, you can see that I'm going there. So, there are some teammates behind me who see that I'm headed there and don't waste their time. But everybody who was ahead of me just assumed that someone else behind them would get it. So we weren't perfect on our chatter, on our pre-game chatter, but we were pretty good. We established some roles, a couple of people going to the Vault, everybody else going to the Codex, and me grabbing the translation scope without even needing to really be told. So we also learned the obvious one. Defense wins games, right? It does. It wins games. Myself and a couple of other people made it our priority, stats be damned, to control the Codex. And we did. And we won. You get more favor when you win. You complete quests like I did. I got 3 out of 5 of my Codex wins for my quest. Everybody's happier when you win. So why not try to win? Why not play to win, right? And that doesn't always mean being top on the damage meter, top on the heals meter, whatever. Sometimes it means doing your job, playing your role. Everybody loves to win. Let's win. And finally, we also learned the not-so-obvious lesson. Defense loses games. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Defense loses games when you choose to defend the wrong things. They devoted too many of their resources to defending the statue, and once they had done that, it was over. You've got to know what target is valuable and what target isn't. 2 people guarding the statue, like consistently guarding the statue. You saw every time I looked at the statue, there was 1 or 2 people there, and that's all they were doing was standing there. Think about the value of the target that you're guarding. Is it worth it to stand there and guard a target that is of less value than a target you could be assaulting that your opponent owns? That person who was guarding Codex or guarding the statue, or those 2 people, if they were consistently attacking the Codex, maybe we would have lost the Codex. But as it was, our defense was rarely challenged at the Codex because they were defending the wrong things, or they were defending things with too many resources. They put too much towards that defense, and that helped them to lose the game. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to put episode number 22 in the books. And yeah, same call out as last week. If you guys have any more ideas for anything else you'd like to see, we got some good suggestions in the last one, some things I'm going to think about. If you have any more suggestions for things you want to see on TGN Rift, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, like, favorite, subscribe, whatever you want to do. No pressure. Just be cool. Be here every Monday. You're going to get Warfronts. Maybe I'll be in a good mood and I'll sprinkle something else in. Have a feeling I might sprinkle a nice extra in for you guys this week because, number one, my family's out of town and I have a lot of time, but number two, this was kind of a boring episode. Even though I think we learned a lot from it, it wasn't a lot of action going on. So maybe we'll figure out something else to do. All right, guys, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do next week because previously in episode 21 when I said, oh, next week we'll have some action from my cleric, then I couldn't get a damn game with my cleric. So, yeah. Be surprised next week. Just be here. See what the hell I pick. I don't know. Alright, guys. I have been Big Dave. And as always, take it easy.